Hey guys, just gonna give it a couple seconds while people come on. But I think everybody knows why I'm doing this live on an Emancipation Day like this one. I think everybody knows why I'm doing this live. So if you haven't heard as yet, the Supreme Court upheld the position of a school, Kensington Primary. We're gonna call the name of the school, right? The decision of a primary school, Kensington Primary, to bar a student from continuing her education there unless she pull out her locks or cut it off. So this case came to public attention in about September of 2019 when the parents were asked to properly groom the child's hair because the locks raised hygiene concerns. So the first time I heard that story, I'm not gonna lie to you, my stomach sick, and I had to just kind of rein myself in because I'm not in a position to tell a school what to do and what not to do. I don't sit on their board of directors. I'm not the Minister of Education. I'm not the Minister of Youth. I'm not the Prime Minister. So I hold it, right? And just watch to see how things would unfold. Shortly after that, there was some kind of an injunction or directive that allowed the student to continue her education while the case was brought before the court. I'm not a lawyer, I don't know the legal terminologies, but something was put in place to allow the child to continue her education. Now, very early in the case, a couple things were made clear, right? One, they're not Rastafari in terms of religious beliefs. So this is not a religious position that the family has taken, but it's a point of personal expression to which all of us have a constitutional right. And so long as that exercise of the right is not infringing on anybody else's rights, then you should, for all intents and purposes, be able to express yourself. And for the family, they express themselves with their hair. Yeah, some of us express ourselves with piercings. Some of us express ourselves with tattoos. Some of us express ourselves in the way we dress, the way we speak. They chose hair. And this little girl, you should see the photos, they're so cute. Her hair is so neat, right? And they saw her hair as an offense to good hygiene. I'm also not going to comment on that because I feel like I'm going to say something that is rude, and I am accountable to various groups of people, so I don't want to put anybody in a position to have to defend what I really want to say. But to the school administration, I say one thing. You have done a great job upholding the vestiges of colonialism. I think Queen Elizabeth, all kings and queens before her time, kings and queens in the Dutch countries, in Spain, right across the former colonial empires, would be so proud of the principal and the teaching staff at Kensington Primary. Or enslavers would probably give you an award for upholding this level of racism, because that's really all it is. And I don't care how you want to call it, I don't know what you want to title it, to sleep good at nights, but you are just a perfect example of how colonialism can thrive even through black bodies, black institutions, and in black countries. So to Kensington Primary School and the team there that supports the position of the administrators, good job reflecting, mimicking, and choosing to be mentored by our enslavers. That's all I'm going to say to you guys. Now, the Supreme Court can only rule on law. So it makes no sense quarreling with the court. We have not yet seen their written judgment. We don't know what they considered as the facts of the law, like what the law says on paper, that institutions are able to do, children have a right to do, parents have a right to do on behalf of their children. A full written judgment is going to be put out in due course, yes? So we will wait to see the grounds in law that the court took in handing down this particular decision. But you can't blame the court. The court is simply meant to uphold and interpret the law they have before them. So what does that mean? Change the law. Change the law. Between the House of Representatives or parliamentarians, the lower house, you have 63 legislators there. All of them are black people or have some kind of black heritage in them, no matter how them skin color high. We sent them there to make laws on our behalf. And if there are laws that exist that we do not like, they have an obligation to change those laws too. And then in the upper house, you have some more senators again. So between the two houses, you have almost 100 Jamaicans who meet at least one time for the week to consider what legislation properly represents the ethic and the conscience and the ambitions of the Jamaican people. So you see, once the court's decision in writing is handed down, I don't want to itch if I have to call back the parliament, which is now in recess, call them back, look through that judgment and see what laws as a Jamaican, a black nation we could really have that gives the court instruction to uphold that level of prejudice and racism against a little picnic. I want to break that down and mash it up and make new laws that properly attest to the ambitions of Jamaican people, because that's not my ambition. That is not my ambition as a Jamaican, that a little girl can be told that her locks have a pull out because it might dirty and stink, because that's essentially what the school is telling her. That's not my ambition as a Jamaican, that every little child with locks on them head right now go to school September morning confronting the reality that any of them teachers who not woke enough, who don't raise them level of conscience enough and consciousness enough, any one of those school administrators could send them back home, because there's a law that exists to make that exclusion and that prejudice and that racism okay. That is not my ambition. When I think about the Jamaica I want to live in, another one here. So whatever is shared by the court as the reason that allowed the school to do that without any kind of repercussion, change it. Make that the first priority come September morning. We have given up a lot over the last 4 months. The coronavirus has taken so much from us as a people. It takes money out of our pocket. It takes jobs out of households. It takes picnic out of school. Some children are going to go back to school in September way behind everybody else because they never even have internet to continue learning. And where there was internet, there's no smartphone. So we have lost so much. Industries have lost out on opportunities to grow and to expand. We don't have to lose our conscience. We don't have to lose the consciousness that people celebrate Jamaicans for, because I that them know we for. They might not know any other nation on earth to defend a level of black consciousness the way they know Jamaicans to do it. From Marcus Garvey time, from Leonard Howell time, from Bob Marley time, from Mandela come to Jamaica for show how much him respect our stance against apartheid. How do you tell a child that they can go to parliament with locks but them can't go to school? That's incongruent. That makes no sense. It means that the principles upon which we are making those two incoherent statements are not clear. If you can have, I think I count 4 parliamentarians now with locks. Damian Crawford as the first Rastaman to go in parliament. Orlando Terry Long as the second to join him in the lower house. Donna Scott Motley as leader of opposition business in the Senate. And very recently a lawyer, Tova Hamilton, who was also put in the Senate. And you mean to tell me, sir, between those images, those positive representation of the black, the artifacts of what it means to be black, getting to the highest levels of leadership and representation in this country is juxtaposed with this new fact that a child cannot go to school with locks. You can go parliament, but you can't go school. That doesn't make no sense. And there is no excuse for us to leave whatever law allows that to be so in place. So to tell me that because the law says so makes it okay, I don't want to hear that neither. So whoever is trying to make the situation more malleable, right? To make people more comfortable with the situation as it is. There's no softening the blow by saying, well, the law says so. Finish your sentence. Well, the law says so, but we're going to change those laws because those laws don't represent what I want for children growing up in Jamaica. And we make laws. And we make laws. So we can unmake that one day and make a new and better law. That is the job of every parliamentarian who lies in their bed today, sitting and eat them ackee and saltfish, getting ready to post that happy emancipation graphic with chains breaking and, the beautiful picture of Jamaica and how we're gonna, break ourselves free from mental slavery. That is the job you have the next time you go down a garden house. That is a cultural imperative. That is a political necessity. That is a consciousness move we need for happen like right now. We have to realize it is not okay and prioritize changing those laws. Now I say this and I must can hear the frustration in my voice, right? I say this from a position of experience. When I was in sixth form, I had an afro. Them time they may I meditate for lock me here come. May I see the vibration and I like it. When I was in Mandeville, we were raised, the house that we were in was directly in front of Garnet Silk's home before he died. So it's a whole heap of Rastaman music played there. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, reggae music, a beat, conscious vibration and chanting and all of them something there. So eventually those things kind of turned my mind on to the question of black consciousness and how I want to represent that I love and appreciate and I am not ashamed of myself as a black woman. The big nose where they don't want me for love, how do I show that I love that? The big eye them where they don't want me for love, how do I show that I love that? The big mouth where they don't want me for love, how do I show that I love that? The hair when I really smooth and light up on my back, how do I show that I love that? And I said, alright, I'm going to start with my afro. Because all along growing up, I want to cream my hair. From I'm in grade 6. I say, yes, past GSAT, me I go high school, time to cream my hair. No, mommy. And my mother said, no, she's not creaming. She said she liked my hair. Nothing was wrong with my hair. Right? Me never quite understand why me couldn't cream my hair. Because my mother's hair was also processed. And every adult woman in my family, them hair processed. So it became a thing where, through your pitney, you can't want at, right? We're not going to give you that. That's how I saw it. But my mother was combing my hair and she knew that there was nothing wrong with my hair that would warrant it being processed. So should I give me a little go-between with like a hot comb and, comb it out and me get a nice little twist well long down. So, but by the time I sleep and wake up, come sweat, it shrink up back again. But when I got to fifth form, just exiting fifth form, I said, this is the vibe I want. So when I was entering sixth form now, I said Afro to my thing, China bomb to my thing, right? A law was passed or some kind of direction in the school, or maybe it already existed, but they just decided to enforce it, that students could not leave the ends of their hair out. So that was their way of saying you're not allowed to wear an afro, right? Because more and more children were, the puff when you part your hair in two and you let out the puff here, so, or you catch it up in a one and you have a puff, or you let out the afro with like a little bandeau or a headband or even a scrunchie, depending on what could hold back your hair, and then the back of it puff out. So instead of saying you can't have your hair in an afro, the statement was the ends of your hair cannot be out because it would seem unkempt and untidy. Me already decided, say, me want my afro. So them have to go fight me and rolling the end of my ear. Me not doing it for them. So a teacher, I was in class one day and they kept saying it to me, you're not phoning up, you don't hear that the afro, yes, miss, tomorrow. But every tomorrow I come back with the afro. So I was sitting in a class one day, I can't remember what subject it was. And the teacher said, no man, Crystal, you have to go to the bathroom now and fold your hair in, because the school regulation says that your hair cannot be out like that. Well, I said, miss, a long time I wait for one of them do it when me this side of the girl. So like a girl with Indian hair on her ear, you know, long so and wavy, and she leave it out. So finally them said to me when she in at the class or was in proximity to me. And I said, well, if I have to go and fold in the ends of my hair, is me and her going to the bathroom because her hair end is also out? So is it offensive because my hair don't lie down on my back, over which I have no control? Why my own have to wrap up and hers can stay down? Is a matter of whether or not the hair lie down on the back, or just that the hair must not be out? Because if it said the hair must not be out, the two we need to go to the bathroom, right, miss? No answer. Eventually, as you can see, my hair lock. 2 years ago again, Akira was in sixth form. And she kept coming home with a complaint from various teachers, but one in particular that really had a problem with her wearing out her afro because she didn't like her afro. And when I met Akira, she had short hair. She had processed it a few times, you know, that cut where the back is really low and they curl up at the top. And she decided, you know what? She want to try grow out her hair. Girl, I work on her hair, you know. Called my friend Karen, who is like a hair and skin guru, for all the tips. What I need to rub in my hair, how I must wash it, what shampoo I must use, what conditioner I must use, when I treating it, what I must do, when I drying it, what I must do. And she work on her hair, grow out her hair. And she was so proud of her hair. She started to wear it out. No, it wasn't a big afro, because as I say, her hair just started to grow back. And she kept coming home with a complaint. She was really annoyed that the teacher kept telling her she couldn't wear afro, she couldn't wear afro, she couldn't wear afro, she couldn't wear afro, nothing wear. And as soon as it long enough for twist or cane or something or tame, she need to do it. But she continued right through the year and she was able to wear her afro. But when that happened, I just remembered how persistent people are. Because when you decide that you are going to be a mentee of colonialism, you know, when you decide that your role model is going to be a colonizer, when you decide that you're going to read from the book of the oppressor and follow through on their rules to tame and to suppress and to defeat the consciousness that is black pride, it takes effort, you know, for you to look at yourself in the morning and decide that you too are going to hide those things that make you black. And you're going to go into the world and try to convince other people to hide and suppress and to conceal the things that allow them to identify as part of a powerful black race. That takes effort, you know. Some of you must get a degree for that, you know. Some of you must get a degree for that, because it takes a lot of effort and conscious decision making to stifle people for simply accepting who they are and how they come into this world. So I'm going to say this again. When we reopen, and remember, we can call Parliament out of recess anytime if we think it is so important. So I'm asking the Prime Minister to consider that. Consider it, Mr. Holness, that you have an opportunity to put your administration on the right side of history. Consider that opportunity that you have right now on Emancipation Day 2020, when the world is crying about the fact that Black lives matter. Just dissect what it means to have a black life. Because it's not just a spirit that is breathing in you. It's all manifestations of what it means to be black. Those things matter. And the black here is part of that life and that existence, that reality of the black man and the black woman. So if we believe that black lives matter, for true, what are we going to do to make it easier, make it less difficult, make it less oppressive for black people to live in peace and in pride? Huh? You have an opportunity. Call back the Parliament out of recess. I know if I did extend one SOE, we could have called them back. Let's use this as an opportunity to urgently attack whatever legislation is now on the books to make it okay to oppress a child for wearing her hair like this. She does no harm to anyone. She does no harm to anyone. I am not even okay with schools that tell the young men that they have to cover them hair with like a tam. But that is leagues better than telling them don't come at all if you don't cut your hair or pull it out. So what do we want to do? What do we want to make 2020 mean for the consciousness of Jamaican people? We have an opportunity here to take the image of Rastafari from just a commodity, something that people must look at in awe and go goo goo gaga over the culture of it and the image of it. We have an opportunity to move it from just that pedestal that we look at it and just adore it, and make that transcend to a lived reality for all Jamaicans, that we do revere and respect the black skin, the black culture, the black hair. We have an opportunity. We have an opportunity. So, I'm sorry if my blackness offends you, because I know there's some people who are offended by my blackness, right? I know some people who are wonder when me I go pull this out, because to be taken seriously as a woman, I have to look a certain way. I know there's still some people like that. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that you have allowed yourself to be taught from the book and the curriculum of the oppressor. I am sorry that you have not come to a space of conscious and spiritual awakening as yet, to realize how flawed, how self-deprecating and self-defeating, how self-diminishing those thoughts and ideas are. I'm sorry that you have not yet seen your worthiness, seen the power, the beauty, and the magic of what it means to have the black gene, the melanin running all over in your body. I'm sorry that you don't recognize that the life in our hair, and we call it coarseness, but the body and the life in the black hair is itself testament to how much God loves us. I am sorry that you have not accepted that this black body and black hair and black face, that is still offensive to you and many others. I'm sorry that you've not yet accepted that we were first, and we were the first manifestation of humanity, in essence, the most perfect visual, because before us there was none like us. Honor that and cherish that for those of us who recognize it. Use your voice and talk out against it. And in any space where you can represent powerfully and positively what it means to be a black man or a black woman, do it without apology. Because we're not apologize for how we feel, and we're not going to apologize for the fact that we're angry. We're living in a world where we should be politically correct and be okay and be stoic and just find a way to work through it. Me, Crystal Tomlinson, have no intention of learning how to live in oppression. Me don't want to learn that. The very essence of Emancipation Day is because our ancestors refused to learn to live in a world where they were unworthy, whereas themselves they were not enough. So I'm not trying to learn how to live in a world where oppression is still okay. And anywhere that the freedom and liberty of somebody, especially right here in Jamaica, where any Jamaican's freedom and liberty is under threat, my own under threat too. Because that could be me. That could have been me as a child. That could be my daughter if she decides that she wants to lock her hair like her mother and her father. That could literally be me. So a threat to Baby Z, because that's what we call her in the article. We don't want nobody to know her name. The fact that Baby Z must now know that her hair makes her unworthy. Her hair makes her an other and not a legitimate part of the collective. The fact that she must now choose between how she feels and sees her beauty in its most natural sense. She must now choose between that and the need to fit in with society is a threat to every Jamaican's freedom. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the court cites as the legal standing that the school had to make that ruling, so that our legislators can step up to the plate now and decide which Jamaican you represent. Do you represent the administrators at Kensington, or do you represent the mass of black people who are tired of being told how their blackness is unworthy and not beautiful enough to stand as it is? The next tourists will come here, I feel like I'm supposed to start meet them out of Norman Manley and out of Donald Sangster. right? With some flyer say, welcome to Jamaica, where you can buy a Rasta hat, but your Rasta child can't go to school. Welcome to Jamaica, where a Rasta man will probably give you a coconut, but his child will not be allowed to go to certain schools. Welcome to Jamaica, where you're gonna buy one of those nice figurines or artifacts and bring back to put on your shelf, but we can't put children in school who look like that. Because I don't even think those who admire and celebrate and revere the blackness that we put out in front of the cameras, confidence that we portray in our ads for tourism, a lot of them don't know that we are grappling with feelings of inadequacy ourselves and making a deliberate effort to transfer that onto children who dare to show up in this world confident and in love with who they are. Me not plan to try and figure out how to live in a world like this. Me don't plan to try and figure out how to live in a world like this, because this is not the world I am going to live in. And that's exactly why I'm going to Parliament. Because there are some things that have to change. The last thing I'm going to say, and this is to the Minister of Education, I'm not even know if I'm going to hear this, right? And I'm probably going to hear it and just don't care. But again, this is exactly why I try to go Parliament. So I'm not have to beg people to do them something here. We can't just do it ourselves. Give us the teachings of Marcus Garvey. Because the other thing that we are fighting against is not just bad laws and people who have not yet come to a personal revelation and understanding of themselves. What we're fighting against here is a curriculum, a life curriculum that teaches us that black people just not good enough as we are. Some of us have grandparents who still believe that they must pinch your nose. So when you're a baby, in the hopes that it will straighten it. Put clothespin on your nose and hold it so that eventually when you grow up, your nose can straight and you can pretty. Some of us still have parents who are encouraging, if not setting the example, for us to bleach our skin, because that is a reflection of what it means to be beautiful. And if you can't beautiful by how you're born, make we see how we can make the beauty by bring up your skin tone a little bit. Some of us still have grandparents and parents who treat the lighter skin sibling better than the darker skin sibling. And no matter what the dark one do, for them nickname is always Blackie and Darkie. And no matter how brilliant they are, no matter how much love they show and compassion they show, they will still never be enough and never access the level of privilege that the lighter skin sibling will have. So I don't want you to think it's just a law we're fighting against or a school board and school administration. We're fighting against a culture. And the only way to reculture people is through education. We learn how to be human beings. None of us is born and just talk English, talk patois, put one foot in front of the other. We are taught how to be as human beings, which means that we can teach the next generation of Jamaican children who will become Jamaican legislators. Go get a big door. I wonder if it's going to come in at the shot. You might see it is a very big black bulb. I feel like it's the black energy, right? I call it on. Yes, some of us have an opportunity right now, whether you're a parliamentarian, an administrator, a teacher, a principal, to advocate for Garveyism to become a part of what we learn as Jamaican students. And you know why it is so important to put book and pencil, classroom, chalkboard, or whiteboard in the midst of teaching us what it means to be black? Because a lot of us will not find out on our own. A lot of us will not buck up into that wisdom. What you will buck up in is the prejudice telling you that you have to change who you are if you're to be accepted. But you're not going to buck up in a black consciousness just so. Most of us will have to seek and find and dig up the books them and read that for ourselves. So why not just make it a part of the curriculum? So no matter which school you go, whether it's a country school or a town school, a rich people's school or a poor people's school, a uptown school or a downtown school, a traditional school or a non-traditional school, homeschooling or public schooling or private schooling, but a core part of the approved curriculum for students. And you can pick which level you want to teach it. The earlier the better. They have to learn some of those principles of Garveyism. There's a reason why universities across the world have institutes and courses dedicated to the teachings of Marcus Garvey. And I true them now have nothing to do with the building, why them name it after Marcus. It's not because they never have some other book where them could have put in there, why them choose to put in the books and the writings of Marcus Garvey. It's because it is so important. It is so important to raising the consciousness of a people that for centuries have been educated to believe that we are insufficient and we are ugly. So you have to reteach that. Remember, I said somebody teach with the opposite, you know. Somebody taught us that feeling of inadequacy, you know. We now have an opportunity to unlearn that by teaching what we now know to be truth. So I'm advocating again, as PNPYO president, we put it out there before. We had put this out there before, just when students were being turned back from school because they were lightening their skin. Instead of sending them back home to a parent who's probably still doing the bleaching and is quite fine to keep the extra $500 in their pocket at daytime, said, you now got school, we can't use the money and do something else, go and go look at work. They are okay with that. They're parents who not fight you. So the child will just not learn. A 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old student will just get dashed out of school because them bleach them skin. Why not teach them what is beautiful about what they have? Why not do that? Why is that so hard? Why do I have to be begging for us to teach people what makes us beautiful as black people? Understanding that for centuries we were being taught what makes us ugly and insufficient and inadequate and second-class citizens, if not lower order beings. That was something taught to us. And that is something people are still being taught. Now, I don't think the Supreme Court wants to be complicit in that lifelong pedagogy of oppression, but you are now a part of it. And that's because we have bad laws. Whatever laws empower that kind of ruling, we have to change that. But we can also do something from the root that allows us to bear better fruit when the tree grows up. And that is educating our children. So that is the last thing I will say on it. I may tell you, I feel it down at the tip of my toe, because this is something I have had to live through, and as a teenager I've had to stand up for my right to wear my hair that way. I've had to stand up for Akira as my daughter to wear her hair that way. I'm gonna feel like I fight with a Jamaican educator when I see a time for go to school for her right to wear her hair in its natural form. So that hurts. But that's a part of why I'm entering politics. To change the parts of our reality as Jamaicans that hurt. And this is one of them. Poverty is another one. Uneducation is another one. Lack of job and opportunity is another one. Poor management of resources and corruption is another one. But today on Emancipation Day, and this me I talk about, I'm gonna save it, Empress. I'm gonna save it. I'm going to save it. So this is my Emancipation Day message to you. Share it with somebody. Talk about it when your family link up. Tweet about it. At the people in a position to do something about it. But me and the Lord, they're going to buck up in a parliament very soon. And if they don't change it now, I know it's not going to stay there when me and my team get there. Love and blessings, everybody.